ITA for defending my husband over a comment he made to my brother. Welcome back to Reddit Stories, where we explore the stories that make waves online. Today we're listening to a controversial story from the RAITA subreddit, where users seek empathy, truth, and the harshest judgments. Today's topic is AITA for defending my husband over a comment he made to my brother, a story that divided Reddit. Family, marriage, unresolved heartbreaks, and the age-old question, does loyalty to the one you love mean disregarding the feelings of your loved ones? P2. This story comes from Reddit user U_RA Sibling Tension. We'll call her OP, a woman who is in the middle of a bitter conflict between her husband and her younger brother. OP begins her story by sharing about the relationship between her husband Ryan and her younger brother Jason. Jason is an introvert who has been through a period of severe depression in recent years due to losing his job, breaking up with his girlfriend, and having a falling out with his parents. During that time, OP has always been by Jason's side, providing financial and emotional support. OP's husband, Ryan, although not hating Jason, has always had a negative view of him. He believes that Jason is irresponsible, refuses to get up from his mistakes, and constantly plays the victim. Things came to a head one evening when OP invited Jason over for dinner. During the meal, Jason talked about how he was trying to find a job but had not been accepted anywhere. Ryan, with a sarcastic look, said, "Maybe those companies also think you need to grow up a bit, not spend more time lying in your room." The atmosphere fell silent. Jason stood up, said briefly, "I think I should go home," and left. OP was shocked, not only by Ryan's words, but also by the obvious hurt on his brother's face. After Jason left, OP had a serious talk with Ryan. He said that he had only said a necessary truth and did not deserve criticism. OP felt lost. Jason cut off all contact for a week. When OP took the initiative to call, Jason only said, "You defended someone who made me feel useless. I don't blame you, but I need time." The family began to split. OP's mother thought that she should teach her husband how to respect others. Meanwhile, friends told her that Ryan had the right to express his opinion and that OP could not always protect Jason. She felt like she was holding two ends of a rope that were pulling in opposite directions. If she let go, who would fall harder? Unable to bear the pressure, OP posted on Reddit with the title, "AITA for defending my husband over a comment he made to my brother." In the post, she recounted the whole situation and frankly admitted that she did not react strongly to Ryan immediately. She just tried to calm the situation by suggesting that Jason and Ryan talk later. But perhaps that made Jason feel abandoned. OP made it clear that she did not hate her brother. On the contrary, she loved Jason very much. But she also felt that Ryan did not mean to offend, but was just being too direct. And now she is wondering if she was wrong to stand by her husband, or if she failed as a sister. A person standing between her biological family and her husband of many years. A seemingly harmless remark, but peels back all the layers of hurt inside. And the final question, is OP wrong for not choosing a clear side? Or is the mistake on both men's part? P3. Soon after OP shared the story on the RAITA subreddit, the post quickly went viral with over 18,000 upvotes in just 24 hours, attracting thousands of comments from all over the world. The post not only touched on the sensitive topic of the boundary between spouses and siblings, but also sparked a deep debate about empathy, emotional boundaries, and responsibilities in family relationships. OP support. OP. You can't always side with your brother. At some point, you have to let him grow up. Ryan wasn't rude, he was just too direct. I've been in your shoes. Being stuck between a loved one and a partner is always painful, but you didn't make the wrong choice. You tried to compromise. Jason needs a mirror to look at himself, not a warm cradle forever. Ryan didn't say the wrong thing, just the wrong time. OP isn't saying Ryan was being sarcastic or outright insulting. His words were a wake-up call, and OP handled the situation quite calmly. Neutral opinion. This isn't black and white. Ryan should be more lenient, but Jason needs to learn to take feedback. OP shouldn't take both sides. Everyone has their reasons. Ryan is tired of being codependent, Jason is hurting, and OP is stuck between two people she loves. No one is evil here. I think you should give Jason space, and also have a deeper conversation with your husband. This is more about communication than blame. Maybe you should have a three-way conversation. You, Ryan, and Jason. Don't let misunderstandings fester forever. OP criticism. You are the only one who knows what Jason has been through. Not standing up for your brother right away is a betrayal. Ryan didn't just say it. He insulted the person who was hurting. And you stayed silent. That's the most heartbreaking part. Families don't abandon each other when the other is weak. Jason needed you in that moment, but you chose your husband. That was a choice, and it has consequences. You protect the hurt person, and then expect the hurt person not to feel abandoned? That's not fair. The most upvoted comment, with over 7,200 likes, reads, Ryan was wrong to not understand that the truth can be a knife if said at the wrong time. Jason needs support, not judgment. But OP is not to blame. She is just doing the best she can in a bad situation. Sometimes, love is not enough to heal everything. This is a story about three people who are all hurt, and no one has a map to find their way out. Not stopping at judging OP's story, the Reddit community expanded the topic to include insightful perspectives. Which side do you choose when your family and your partner are in conflict? A huge discussion erupted with hundreds of comments sharing personal experiences. Should you stay silent when the person you love hurts someone else you love? Many expressed sympathy for the feeling of being caught in the middle and the burden of emotional responsibility. How to tell the truth to someone in crisis without breaking them down. This became a subtopic with shares from behavioral psychologists and people who have been through a crisis. Reddit is not just a place for judgment. It is also a space for healing, reflection, and truth from many perspectives. And this time, OP's story has sparked a conversation that goes beyond the question of who is right, who is wrong. P4. After the post garnered thousands of responses from the Reddit community, OP returned to update the situation with a rather lengthy and emotional post. OP took the initiative to contact Jason's brother after a week of silence. She sent him a long message explaining that she wasn't taking sides, but had to look at things fairly. She apologized if her response had made Jason feel betrayed, and affirmed that she still loved and cared for him as much as before. Jason responded, but in a rather cold tone. He felt that Ryan had crossed the line, and that OP's lack of a strong response at the time made him feel abandoned. However, Jason also admitted that he was in an emotionally unstable period and may have overreacted. OP had a private conversation with her husband Ryan. She said that she shared her brother's feelings and asked him to be more careful when making comments in sensitive situations. Ryan apologized for being so blunt and said he didn't hate Jason. He was just tired of seeing OP feel the pressure between them. Since then, OP has been trying to establish clear boundaries with both men. She still talks to Jason via text, but hasn't met in person. She also encouraged Ryan to be more understanding, rather than just telling the truth without considering emotions. OP shared that she felt less burdened after being clear with both sides. She knew she wasn't perfect, but at least she didn't hide. Writing about it on Reddit and reading the comments from both sympathetic and critical people helped her put things into perspective. OP also added, "I don't think I did the right thing, but I also don't believe I betrayed anyone. I tried to do what was best for everyone, and that's all I can do." She ended the update with a heartfelt thank you to the Reddit community, where she felt heard, enlightened, and pushed to grow. P5. This story is a true picture of the conflict between family obligations and loyalty to a spouse. OP is torn between two extremes: the kinship with her younger brother, whom she has been with since childhood, and the marital bond with the husband she has chosen as her life partner. Jason feels hurt and betrayed because his sister does not defend him. Meanwhile, Ryan, the husband, feels that he is only telling the truth and does not deserve to be blamed. It is OP, the person in the middle, who suffers the most internal torment. She is caught up in feelings of guilt, helplessness, and sometimes anger for not being able to please both sides. Reddit has become a resonance chamber for many perspectives. Some people deeply sympathize with OP and advise her to keep clear boundaries, because no one can live forever in the role of mediator. Some people insist that Ryan should restrain himself because even if he is right, insensitive words can hurt. There are neutral comments that all three need to learn how to communicate and regulate their emotions, especially Jason if he wants to be respected as an adult. Reddit is not only a place to relieve stress, but also a place to help reshape moral views, helping OP and many others to reflect on their own positions in relationships. Character analysis. OP. The middle one. Honest, emotional, but somewhat lacking in clear boundaries in the relationship. She is not wrong to not react strongly to her husband, but that makes her misunderstood as indifferent to her brother. Jason. The sensitive brother, vulnerable, and has not yet learned how to accept unpleasant words without reacting defensively. He is a good person, but his personal feelings override his ability to see things objectively. Ryan, the rational husband. Pretty realistic and logical, but lacking in tact and empathy in communication. He loves his wife and means no harm, but his lack of tact leads to unnecessary misunderstandings. Lessons learned. Communication is not just about telling the truth, but also knowing when and how to tell it. You can't please everyone, but you can maintain your integrity if you are transparent, listen, and set reasonable boundaries. Both family and marriage relationships need to be nurtured with understanding, not silence or tolerance. Ultimately, no one deserves to be stuck in the middle because they need emotional care too. Thank you for following today's story on Reddit Stories. This is not only a lesson about marriage and family, but also a reminder that, sometimes, protecting someone is not about defending them in front of others. It's about helping them see themselves clearly and kindly. Leave a comment below. Who do you think is right in this story? Was OP wrong to not protect her brother? Or was she right to try to keep the balance? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on more interesting stories from Reddit Stories. See you in the next video. AITA for refusing to let my son call my wife's stepdad father? Welcome back to Real Reddit Moments, where we explore the most real, chaotic, and sometimes controversial moments from the Reddit community. Today, you're about to enter a story that has Reddit buzzing. A father, fiercely defending the boundaries of his family. A wife, standing between the complicated boundaries of family and past. And a child, just wanting to call someone dad. This story has divided thousands of people, causing heated debates and raising the big question: is father-child love defined by blood, past, or permission? The story is titled, AITA for refusing to let my son call my wife's stepdad father? Now, we'll hear the story from the person involved, and you'll understand why this seemingly small thing can put an entire family on the brink of breaking up. P2. This story comes from Reddit user UThrowFatherline, we'll call him OP, a father who is trying to protect the sacred definition of father in a family that is deeply scarred by its past. OP and his wife, Megan, have been married for 6 years and have a son together named Eli, who is 5 years old. Their relationship is stable, with both working full-time and sharing parenting responsibilities. However, their family life has become chaotic since Megan's stepfather, a man named Richard, has become more and more present in their lives. According to OP, Richard is not a bad man, but he has not played a big role in Megan's upbringing. Megan once told OP outright, I don't call him Dad, I call him Richard. But recently, when Eli began to form the concept of an extended family, Megan took the initiative to instruct Eli to call Richard Grandpa Dad. OP said that this made him extremely confused and angry, because while he was present, taking care of the child every day, he had to witness another man being called by a sacred word that, according to OP, should only be reserved for the child's biological father. One evening, during a family meal with Richard, OP gently said that Eli just needed to call him Grandpa Richard, and did not need to call him Dad or any variation. But immediately after that, Megan became angry. She thought OP was disrespecting the person who raised her throughout her childhood after her biological father left. A heated argument broke out, and for the first time OP realized his wife was trying to redefine the role of father in her son's life, without OP's consent. What's worse, Richard also said something that made OP furious. I just want Eli to grow up and call the right person his father, whether the father on the birth certificate or not. From there, OP set a clear limit. Eli will not call anyone else father except me. I am the one who has been here since day one, changing diapers, staying up all night, holding him when he has a fever. Don't take that away from me. From that day on, the atmosphere in the family became cold. Megan began to avoid OP, even sleeping separately. She no longer shared about the children, and often took Eli to her mother's house to keep distance. OP felt betrayed. He didn't understand why a small thing, like a way of calling, could spark a crisis of trust between the couple. But for OP, being a father is the biggest role in his life, and no one, including his wife, has the right to dilute that just to please her own past. The final question the OP posed on Reddit was, am I really being selfish if I don't want my son to call anyone else Dad but me? And that's the whole plot. A story that's not just about calling, but about identity, boundaries, and protecting a father's self-esteem. P3. Soon after OP shared his emotional and complicated story about his relationship with his wife, son, and his wife's stepfather, the post exploded in the AITA community. In less than 24 hours, the post garnered over 58,000 upvotes, thousands of shares, and over 9,000 comments, sparking a heated debate that lasted for days. Many people sympathized with OP and felt that he was being treated unfairly for trying to defend his position as a father. You, Dad, on duty 7. You are the only father Eli has and needs. Richard's attempt to step in just shows that he cares more about the title than the role. You, heart of a father. I grew up with two men. One my biological father, one my stepfather. I always knew who was there for me. You're doing the right thing. You, father first, always. No one should dictate what you call your child, especially if it hurts you. NTA. You, Quiet Storm 1989. A title doesn't make a difference, but forcing a child to call someone dad is emotional manipulation. Some people didn't take sides, instead offering insight and suggesting that OP seek a more open dialogue. You, context. Matters. Megan may be acting out of old, unhealed wounds. You two need to sit down and talk about your actual feelings, not just your titles. You, balanced bird. OP isn't wrong, but you should also consider that Eli can feel love from both sides. Children are capable of loving multiple people without compartmentalizing their feelings. You, unpack the layers. I understand how OP feels, but I also understand that Richard may just be trying to be loving and not trying to usurp the role. You, family therapist 98. This should be addressed in family therapy. There are many layers of emotion that are not being explored. While the community largely supports OP, some feel that OP is controlling her son's emotions and may be acting too rigidly. You, name is just a name. If Eli wants to call Richard his dad, you should respect that. It's not a battle of who does more, it's a battle of who connects more. You, stepdad love. 2. Some stepfathers are better than their biological fathers. You shouldn't make the title a territory. You, not so noble. You're putting your ego ahead of your son's emotional well-being. This will hurt Eli in the long run. You emotionally biased. You're reacting like Richard is a threat instead of someone who adds support and love. Top comments that make up the storm. You true. Father energy, 47,000 upvotes. OP is not wrong for defending the title of father, but people are missing the point. A child needs consistency in their identity. If parents don't agree with each other, the child will grow up feeling confused. This isn't a power struggle. This is a cry for help from a father who feels marginalized. The thread quickly expanded to include the roles of stepfathers and stepmothers in modern families. The power to define the title in the family. Who gets to decide? Is actual affection or biological relationship more important in parenting? The impact of titles on a child's psychological development. Many Redditors shared personal stories of being forced to call someone dad or mom, even though they didn't feel a connection, leaving comments that were hundreds of words long, creating a wave of emotional sharing and heated debate. P4. After the initial post received a huge outpouring of support from the Reddit community, with thousands of heartfelt advice and sympathetic stories from parents and former parents, OP returned to provide an update. OP and Megan had a deep conversation. No longer an argument, but a dialogue. Megan admitted that she had been so moved by her stepfather's affection for Eli that she unconsciously wanted the title father in his honor. She didn't realize that this made OP feel like she was being replaced. OP also realized that he needed to communicate more clearly. Instead of keeping his hurt feelings inside, he directly expressed his fear that Eli would be confused if the title father was not clearly divided between the two men. Richard, Megan's stepfather, was invited to dinner to clear up the misunderstanding. During this meeting, Richard affirmed that he had no intention of replacing OP. He simply loved the child as a grandfather. And he himself said, "I don't need to be called a father to be loved." The family agreed on a new solution. Richard would be called Mr. Rich, both intimate and respectful of everyone's feelings. In the update, OP expressed a much more relaxed and relieved mood. He wrote, "I was afraid of losing my place in my son's eyes. But in truth, the only thing that threatened that place was my silence. When I spoke up, people listened. When I was honest, they responded with understanding. I know I'm not perfect, but today, I feel like I'm a good enough father, and that's enough." The OP also thanked the Reddit community very sincerely. "I didn't expect anything more than a few perspectives, but I got a community in return. Thank you for reminding me that protection doesn't mean control, and that a title isn't as strong as true love. This update is not just a temporary end to the story, but also opens up a healthier and more mature direction in the relationship between husband and wife, between stepfather and son, and between a man and the sacred position he holds. Father. P5. This story is not simply about what to call someone. It is a symphony of complex emotions. OP feels threatened, anxious, and out of control. Although he loves his son with all his heart, he fears that his love will be replaced or diminished by a title. Megan, OP's wife, acts out of deep emotion and gratitude for her stepfather, who has taken on the role of a real father in her life. Richard, her stepfather, appears to be a pure and innocent love, but he is also caught in the middle of two strong emotions that he did not intend to create. Eli is loved by everyone, but the ways they express it, their expectations, and their fears cause their emotions to collide like constant undercurrents. The Reddit community once again showed the power of sharing stories in a safe space. They supported OP, but also challenged him to look at his feelings rationally. They empathized with Megan, but also asked, "If you were OP, would you feel hurt?" Most importantly, the community helped OP see that this wasn't a battle for a name, but a journey of raising a child in the love of many adults. Character analysis. OP. Father. A real father, imperfect, but always putting his son's feelings and future first. He's not stubborn, but wounded, learning to communicate instead of being defensive. Megan, wife. A grateful daughter, sometimes blinded by personal feelings. But when dialogue occurs, she listens and adjusts, proving that marriage requires both flexibility and honesty. Richard, stepfather. He is a middleman character, but plays an extremely important role. He is a symbol of unconditional love, and proof that sometimes love does not need a title to exist. Lessons from the story. True love does not need a title. It needs presence and care. Honest communication is the only tool to avoid misunderstandings in the family. Children need consistency, but they need maturity from adults even more. You do not need to compete to keep your place in the heart of the person you love. You just need to be yourself responsibly. And that is the emotional story of a father trying to protect the sacred relationship with his son amidst the invisible clashes in a modern family. So, do you think OP is selfish for not wanting his son to call his wife's stepfather dad? Leave your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. You're part of this community too. If you enjoy these everyday yet deeply emotional stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video from real Reddit moments. See you in the next story, where Reddit isn't just a place to tell, it's a place to heal.